Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I would just like to take you back a bit on the issue, on the diaspora issue and registration. You mentioned rightly that Section 39 does not need to be amended. This is also my view, because it is important that every person is registered on a constituency to know who is who and for the purposes of National Assembly elections. But Section 88 is the problem, which states the number of constituencies we have. Initially, I had this proposal that if amendments are going to be an issue, why can't we register the diaspora? I posed this question yesterday to the ministry, who said, by the way, he was the one who noticed this issue and called your attention to it, not the other way around. I need you to clarify that. So he said, I asked him whether if I am from Dipakunda living in the diaspora, they can still register me on the Dipakunda mark diaspora. He said that is for you to decide, not him, whether the modalities of that is going to be possible. But just opening this, I found something very interesting that might bring the end to this entire discussion. I'll refer you to Section 50, the National Assembly constituencies. It's delimitation of constituencies. It says, 51, an act of the National Assembly shall establish a boundaries commission which shall be responsible for demarcating constituencies' boundaries for the purpose of elections to the National Assembly. It says 2, the National Assembly shall prescribe by an act the criteria for demarcation of the constituency boundaries. And it says 3, until, please emphasis added, until the National Assembly establishes a boundaries commission under subsection 1, the constituencies as prescribed in Part 2 of the first schedule to the Election Act 1996 and any additional constituencies required for the purposes of Section 88(1)A demarcated by the Independent Electoral Commission in consultation with the appropriate ministry shall be deemed, emphasis added, to be constituencies for the purpose of returning members to the National Assembly under that section. This is very important. It ends the debate whether Section 88(1) has to be amended. This is saying you don't need to amend Section 88(1) all the time. It says if the IEC, who is now giving the responsible for demarcation, demarcates now, published in the Gazette, the diaspora constituencies, those constituencies are automatically deemed to be part of Section 88(1). I think the debate has ended.
Well,
this is
can you put your concern across?
Yes. So this is my.
Sorry, can I
yeah.
Put your concern across. We get the position of
yes,
IEC.
I'm coming.
I am coming.
Yes.
I'm coming.
So
yeah,
with this.
Allow me, please.
Okay.
Put your case across. Let's get the reaction or the response from the IEC. And I equally want to remind ourselves that this is one of the reasons why we have the Ministry of Justice accompany us in the process.
Okay.
So they can equally be invited in the event they are of a different opinion or they are emphasizing on what you have said. We can still allow them to.
Okay, the ministry is here behind me and they can have a look. Meanwhile, while I put the issue. So if we are going by this, per se, this is, I am right, that they will be automatically deemed after your demarcation. So the responsibility now falls on the shoulders of the IEC. You are responsible to demarcate, and we want to know exactly what their plans are. I missed it, but I saw in the notes that you're planning to demarcate the diaspora into 4. So the process of this is what is important immediately and right now, that the demarcation is done and it's gazetted and the world knows these are the diaspora constituencies, so their registration can go alongside our registration. And also because the bill is now not an act, you can provide rules and guidelines. Normally, you mentioned the issue of the fact that the inter-party and cabinet might be an issue, and you want it to be in the National Assembly. Now, Section 80 of the Standing Orders also requires that any rules, these are subsidiary legislation, be subjected to National Assembly. So you have to come here for us to decide on the rules that will be accepted. Yes, no, Section 100 of the Constitution, Section 80. Now, National Assembly is subjecting all subsidiary legislation to the approval of the Assembly. So I just wanted to bring you the notice and also advise that immediately the decision on the boundaries be made and gazetting be done, and it will be, in my interpretation, deemed to be law immediately. Thank you.
So, but if you do that, that person will not have to vote for a diaspora. He has to vote for the person in Dipakunda or something. I'm just giving an example. But what you're saying, Section 50, until with Section 50, I know that. We'll work on that and see. That's why I said, like, coming to whether we are the ones who spotted 88 or 39 or what, my position is this is no time for, it's time for work. We all, no time for apportioning blame or things like that. We are looking for a solution. We move together and find this solution. Yes, I think that's my position. And anywhere I go, that is what I see. It's good that you flag and then you are what? So what we do is we look for a right interpretation of that section. If it's okay, we move on. Then we are done with Section 88. Okay. So I think that's what I'm going to say. We look for, you know, the constitutional lawyers, you know, to help interpret that section for us. Once it is deemed to be fine, we don't have problem with Section 88, then I think our prayers are answered. Cancel. Yeah.
I am happy to hear that you intend to move forward. And the fact that you're going to look for constitutional law experts, I can assure you that you have them here galore. And I don't have to name names, but the issue is for it to be done expeditiously. If you can contact them, the list is long. You can have divergent views and come up with the best. That's all I want to say. Thank you. No, we can do that in private. I don't have to do it in public. Thank you
very much, Honorable Speaker.
Anyway, we are here to be observing, not to actually make comments. But it will be very prudent to actually make, clarity on the point that the honorable member raised concerning about the Constitution. So if you look at Section 88, it only talks about the composition of the National Assembly members. So the Yes, I am Mr. Kansul Bite from Ministry of Justice. So what the point I'm trying to make here, if you look at Section 88 of the Constitution, it's giving you the composition of the National Assembly members, right? That's why I use the word comprise. And that those members should come from a constituency. Now the question is, how do we define a constituency? It's a defined territorial area, you know, that people actually elect, they are entitled to elect a person to represent them in the National Assembly. Now, if you want to create a diaspora constituency, meaning they need a representative to represent them in the National Assembly. So if you go by Section 50, it's only trying to tell you that those members that are elected from the constituency, the IEC should determine the limitation of those constituency within the country. It's not actually telling you an increasement of the constituency. It's giving you, that the power to the IEC to actually make it, the limitation of those constituency, where the members should come from in the election. So if the National Assembly, if there is no provision of that, then the schedule will guide you for now. The IEC can come at any time and cancel what is in the schedule and come up with their own delimitation and say from this area to this will be the consequency this, and then from this area will be the consequency that. Right, so but anytime you want to create a new constituency, meaning automatically you have to amend 88 to increase the membership too. That's my position. And that's my individual, opinion for now as a lawyer. I will not say that that's the position of the Minister of Justice. Yes.
Well.